Today's guest is Ari Freed, the owner of Freed's, one of Windsor's most well-known and long-standing menswear retailers. Freed's has been a staple in this community for generations, outfitting Windsor-Essex residents for life's biggest moments, from business and professional careers to weddings and special occasions. As the owner, Ari has carried the responsibility of preserving a trusted legacy while also navigating major shifts in retail, consumer expectations, and the economy. His experience offers a real-world look at what it takes to sustain a family business, adapt without losing identity, and continue earning customer loyalty year after year. We're excited to unpack the lessons, challenges, and insights from Ari's journey today.
Everybody be well. Just be well, Can make $1 more, make $1 less. As long as everyone's healthy, everything's good. So that, that along with just taking care of the customers are the kind of the secret sauce, I guess.
Yeah.
He wore that white suit and, and
the iconic suit.
We had row after row after row of white suits in our store.
Because everybody wanted them.
Everyone wanted it. I'm not trying to create this kumbaya type of moment.
Sure.
But success is that happiness, is that harmony. It's that kind of, that big sort of, thing all around you that just sort of all works together that you can say, I'm happy.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Cracking the Success Vault. Today, we are joined by Ari Freed, owner of Freed's here in Windsor. Ari, thank you for taking the time out of your day to speak with us today.
My pleasure, Sean.
So we're going to get into a lot of different things about Freed's and the family business and all of that kind of stuff. But let's start where we always start, which is, who is Ari Freed? How did you grow up? Where did you grow up? And then we'll transition into how you got involved in the business.
All right. Well, I'm born and raised in Windsor. Went to school at a couple of different places, one being Roseland Public School. Before that, Hugh Beaton, up until I used to live right by the Chrysler plant off Walker Road, and moved to South Windsor, then went to Roseland, then went on to Vincent Massey High School, went to Toronto, majored in economics, always liked business, thought maybe I'd be an accountant, but having a family clothing store and loving people, what better idea than going into the family business? Start carrying the torch that was founded by my grandfather in 1929. And I'm third generation. And my father and uncle before me, my partner is Dan Orman, so we're the co-owners of Freed's right now. And my sons, Evan and Derek, now in their 30s, are fourth generation.
Right.
So I'm a guy with a long family history in Windsor, and happy to share my story.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about that family business. So did you ever hear the story that your grandfather told about why he started it, or what the purpose was?
He was a Russian immigrant, like a lot of these stories of people that come into Canada from different countries, in Russia, with like 7 cents in his pocket type of thing. Yeah. And he started working for a clothing fellow who had a really small shop. And I don't know how many years he worked for him, and he bought this little store, very tiny store, and was founded during the Great Depression in 1929.
Wow.
He could speak little bits of about 11 different languages. So there's all kinds of immigrants in Windsor back during the Depression.
Yeah.
And at that time, a lot of people couldn't even pay for the things that they were buying. So my grandfather, on a handshake, would say, "You go ahead, pay me when you can." I think he did write down a little, keep track of things, but everything was done kind of on a handshake.
Okay.
And people remembered him. And here we are now 96 years later, and into 4 generations. But a lot of history from my grandfather. Learned a lot from him.
Yeah, and I was going to say, so obviously as a kid, you were around when your grandfather was still running it and your dad took over.
Yep.
What were some of the lessons that you learned from your grandfather and from your dad when it comes to running the business?
So my father and grandfather are kind of different guys in a way. My grandfather, very high energy, not a very tall guy, but high energy guy, very personable guy who just loved people. And his whole deal was just a couple of things. One was treat people well as number one, just take care of the customer. Customer's number one. Number two, so my father came in, and then my uncle, and then my cousin and myself. So we're a family business with a lot of history. So the other thing, other than taking care of the customer, was number two, make sure that everybody gets along. Most important, like the guys that are running the store, make sure you all get along. And number three, everybody be well. Just be well, Can make $1 more, make $1 less. As long as everyone's healthy, everything's good. So that, that along with just taking care of the customers are the kind of the secret sauce, I guess.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. I mean, Jason and I say the exact same thing. I mean, the customer has to be number one, right? They are the ones who are going to come back. They are the ones who are going to continue to purchase from the store or from us. I can definitely get along with the making sure that everybody gets along. I mean, that's really what happens in partnerships, right? Is it can't be, one person's way all the time. There has to be open communication. Sometimes it's your idea and sometimes it's the other person's idea. Yep. But you have to have those open, honest conversations, yep. Right? So have you guys ever had, are there any sort of, let's say, disagreements that maybe you could talk about where this is kind of some of the things we disagreed on and maybe how we solved the problem that somebody else could learn from?
It's, as I'm listening to the question and trying to think, was there ever a really big disagreement? I've been a tough time coming up with that, quite honestly.
That's
good.
Good.
Which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why we're still around after, 96 years.
Absolutely.
For sure there's going to be little things that come up along the way, but when you look at the whole big picture, not too many. Not so I can say, oh, we really had this huge disagreement and we had to bring someone in or something that we didn't, just talk through. So open lines of communication and work through all those situations.
And I can agree with that because I think you're going to remember more of the good things than you are going to remember the bad things as well anyways, right? So, okay, so let's talk then a little bit about, so your grandfather buys a business during the Great Depression, right? How did it grow? How did the business evolve from your grandfather to your dad and then from your dad to yourself and your cousin?
Yeah. So, the store was called Sam's. My grandfather's name is Sam Freed. Okay. And there's some people that are old enough to remember the store being just the same location, Ottawa Street, Windsor, Ontario, 1526 Ottawa Street, same location, but just a little small shop that was there called Sam's. And the name stayed from 1929 to 1971 as Sam's until we had a major expansion done by my father and my uncle, where we changed the name to Freed's. At that time, there was a whole marketing changeover, different, completely different storefront and completely different logos. And the store went up huge in size. But we've had a lot of expansions over the years. We've had like 7 expansions. And now, Now we take up, now we're a city block.
The entire block.
Entire block from Gladstone to Lincoln on Ottawa Street.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great to walk in there and just see all of the different options. You can get the custom suits done. You've definitely got, we were just talking about every time I go in to buy shoes, I honestly find that Mike is a fantastic help. It's really the only place I find in the city that I can actually find like good business shoes. I've tried everything. I've looked other places. There's no other place but you guys. It's awesome.
Well, I got my hair cut today, and when I got my hair cut, he goes, well, you'll be seeing me soon. And he goes, there's really nowhere else that I like to go, and I'm like, well, there are a few places that you can go, but no, there's really nowhere. There's really nowhere in the world,
Yeah.
in a sense. There's no other Freeds in the
Right.
world like a 50,000 or 50,000 square feet, 35,000 selling, but we've got storage down below and offices up above, where you've got a selection of clothing for men and women, and that goes across sizing and pricing
Mm-hmm.
at every level. You
Yeah.
got every level of pricing, which is kind of strange, and we've been able to make it work for suits. Like you can get a suit for as low as $130 at times to over $2,000 and
Yeah.
everything in between, and sizes from 34 extra short to 70 extra long.
Right.
So it's very unique.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
in
has
that-
the
in that
store
regard.
always been that way since you took over? Is that something that your dad did? Is that something you guys did when you made that decision? Like, because I find that most people, when they're in business, they're really good at one thing, right? Maybe they're, and we're talking with Ari here. This isn't really a plug for the suit shop, but Laz is a great guy, but he does like one thing. It's a very small thing. There is no real selection for the most part. It's just like one tiny little
Right.
niche. You guys have everything, just a wide variety
I
of
think
stuff.
we've always had a really big selection of suits.
Okay.
We continue to have that really large selection of suits with all the different prices. That's been a mainstay for a long time. There's a lot of different things that we've done on top of that. Like you mentioned, the custom shop where we do made to measure and we have high-end suits. That's something that's when you talk about 96 years, it's relatively newer. We didn't have a suit. I remember when I was in the business in the 80s. I'm not sure when the first suit that we retailed. I think it was either an Armani suit or a Hugo Boss suit that we sold for over $1,000. And my father saying, we're going to sell suits for over $1,000. I don't know if anyone will ever spend that kind of money.
Right.
And now, it's not that uncommon for people to spend that kind of money on a suit. And some people spend over $2,000. There are suits that you can buy that are,
Very
sky's
nice.
the limit. We don't
Yeah.
really go much higher than 2,000.
Yeah.
But we also, something that we have done that's newer, when I say newer, it's maybe more over the last 10, 15 years, is our suit package, which is more on the lower side with great quality, where we do a suit package where you can get a shirt, tie, belt, sock, and shoe along with the suit, and it's not a rental, and you buy it for $299.
Wow.
That's suit, shirt, tie, belt, sock, and shoe,
Right.
all for $299, or one for $399.
Right.
And that's something that my partner and I, Dan Orman, we came up with. We actually worked with another company when we first started it, and that company was called Pinstripes, and we kind of partnered with them on it. It was very difficult for us to partner with somebody on the outside and share in the whole thing. And after doing it for probably a couple months, we said, you know what, we can do this ourselves.
Right.
And I'll do it with a lot less complication.
Yeah.
They ended up, I think, dying out, and we now sell probably 4,000 to 6,000 suit packages a year.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think a lot of people do the weddings, right, with you guys.
Yeah.
And what was the reason behind coming up with that sort of suit package? Was it because of just income levels in the city? Is it something you guys just wanted to offer something for everybody? Like, was there an actual idea behind that?
Well, the idea is a lot of people, things have changed in the clothing world. People, when my grandfather started, during even the Great Depression, people were waiting in line to get a loaf of bread or something. They had a top coat, they had a suit, they had a vest, they had a top hat. And, they went to hockey games. Everyone wore a suit, shirt, and tie. That doesn't happen anymore.
No.
So people are only buying suits now primarily for special occasions. A wedding, it might be a funeral, it might be a special interview, but a lot of chances it's not at all.
Right.
So a lot of people want a suit, but they don't want to invest all that much money into a suit. So because we are the place to go for suits, we thought what better idea than to give them a whole package
Right.
at a great price that you wouldn't have to rent, and you'll get everything you need, and it works particularly well for wedding parties.
Yeah,
where
for
you
sure.
want all the groomsmen to look the same.
Yeah.
So it's been a huge thing for us.
Yeah, when it's not if you're having 4, 5, 6 groomsmen, you don't want to have a suit that's $500 or $700 because it just starts to add up like real quick.
Oh yeah.
So I love it. I mean, that's actually the suit that I'm wearing today. I didn't bring the jacket to the office this morning, but I got this suit at Freed's. I love it. It's been 4 or 5 years, still in great quality.
There you go.
Still holding together.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. So, so let's. When it comes to the business itself, are there some things that you can talk about when it comes to like, say, lessons learned where maybe you tried a marketing strategy and it didn't work, or you tried to bring in this thing and it just wasn't worth it, or anything like that? Like, I find that a lot of business owners, when they're getting started or they're in their early phase, maybe they're trying to grow too fast, right? And they make a problem for themselves because they do that.
Yeah.
Are there some things that you think that you could speak about when it comes to other people looking at growing a business or a retail business, about some challenges that they may face and maybe how they can overcome it?
I mean, retail is super difficult. If it was real easy, everyone would be doing it. There aren't that many clothing retailers left. And one of the reasons is it's difficult. And now there's so many obstacles that continue to evolve and make it even more difficult. You've got to continue to keep an eye on the business and keep on coming up with ideas to continue to. You need to grow a business. You don't want a business that's going on a downward slope, or then that's a recipe for disaster. So, yeah, we've had a lot of advantages though in a family business that's 96 years old that we've been able to tap into. See, if somebody's new and they're going to try and do it on their own and not have all the experience that I had passed down to me from my father, my uncle, my grandfather, which I'm now passing on to my 2 sons, pretty difficult to. I would
For sure.
I would tell someone, hey, I'm going to open up my own clothing store in Windsor right now. And say, well, okay, good luck. What's your strategy? How are you going to compete? It's just, I'm not saying it to try and brag. I'm just telling you, there's just so many things that we've learned over the years that they're just totally invaluable.
Yeah.
And I can also tell you, a couple points in history where we thought we had one that was like a tip of the iceberg sort of moment when we started in the 1990s. We started advertising being on the border. We started advertising to the United States when there was a very, like today, a very strong U.S. dollar. If they came over, it was around $1.40 back in the 90s as well. Had a free-flowing border, and people were coming over, and we were started advertising, and people were loving our service, loving our selection. Of course, they loved the prices. They could even get their taxes back at. They'd get part of it back at the duty-free shop. You could get your taxes back as well. So it was like an incredible thing. And we were like, this is just only going to grow. But no, we had 9/11,
Right.
and the borders just about shut down, and Americans stopped coming. So
You had to pivot.
we had to pivot. And you think, sometimes you might think, just keep doing what you're doing. We're doing great. You're just going to grow. You can't run a business that way because, I've been in it long enough now. I've been in it for like 40 years full time. I've seen, I can give you a couple of different sort of dates that tell you where things are not as good as and sometimes a lot of these things are out of your control.
Right. And so, so obviously 9/11 was one of them. right? What are the other ones that you think you can name off
So
the
there
top of your head?
was 08, 09 was the recession,
Yep.
and that was a difficult time. There was very high unemployment. We also had, over the years, I mentioned that people just stopped wearing suits, and you had kind of casual Fridays became casual every day, and the .com world and Silicon Valley, and that was kind of in that
Yeah.
time frame as well, when people stopped wearing suits as much.
Yeah.
When my father went into the business, pretty well every doctor, every lawyer, every teacher would wear a suit to work.
Mm-hmm.
So that changed. Another big one that we had was, probably the biggest one was COVID-19, 2020, 21, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
We were shut down for 39 weeks
Crazy.
over a 2-year period.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to buy about a year in advance in the clothing world. It's a nightmare. It was a huge, huge nightmare.
Yeah.
So 9/11, the recession, COVID-19, casual Friday, like all of those things.
And so what were some of the pivots that you guys made throughout those specific 3 times? So border shuts down, 9/11, can't sell to the Americans anymore. What did you guys decide to do?
Well, we had to kind of go back, not so much go back to the drawing board, but we certainly had to focus on the home base and realize that the home base of Windsor is where we really got to focus our attentions, because things can happen out of your control. And look what happened again over the last year with Donald Trump and the whole tariff thing. The whole city of Windsor is dealing with that situation right now, and we don't do a lot of e-commerce business to this day.
Okay.
It's almost a good thing that we don't, particularly to the United States, because things are getting heavily dutied or tariffed going over the border. Not so much for American customers if they come into the store right now.
Yeah.
That's still somewhat free flowing for Americans coming back, but for shipping, it's a big issue.
Yeah.
So focusing on the home base for sure. Growing the business in other ways.
Yep.
We have a big ladies department. We just hired a new ladies manager over the last
Okay.
year who's doing a fabulous job. We do school uniforms. We have a big sportswear department.
And are those did those things start to come in, the school uniforms, et cetera, did they start to come in specific times? Is it something
School
that,
uniforms came in the 80s, late 80s.
Okay.
Started with a few schools, and now it's around 10 or 11 schools in the
Okay.
Windsor-Essex
Yep.
region that we do school uniforms for.
Yep.
The ladies department also came in, I would say, I think in maybe the mid 80s, and that's become a big part of the business. The shoe department, you mentioned the shoe department.
it's
Huge
fantastic.
department.
Huge.
Yeah. We have jean department, sportswear department, and then the custom shop is another one that's really, even sometimes during a slower economy, there are certain people that don't seem to be affected, or maybe other people rise out and they got the money and they treat themselves to a custom-made suit. We do. We have Keith White and Dan Jacobs that help in that department, that run that department. They do a trunk show twice a year where people come in and do made-to-measure suits from a company called Copley Clothing outside of Hamilton. And the trunk show that we do at our store continues to be the best across Canada.
I didn't even know you guys had it. Okay, interesting. When does that typically happen?
Twice a year.
Okay.
In April, and then 6 months later. Each year we'll do it. And so anyone who wants a made-to-measure, you can get one at any time. But during the trunk show, we have special pricing where they bring in bolt ends, which there might be fabric enough to make 2 suits or 3 suits.
Right.
And the company gives us a special price, sometimes a very expensive fabric. And because they've only got 1 or 2 bolts of cloth left to make a suit, we're able to offer it to our customers sometimes for 30, 40, 50% off the regular retail price on a made-to-measure suit.
That's a neat event.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I haven't heard of it. I love suits.
Yeah,
I'm going to have to check this out in April.
I'll just get you on the list.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll send you an email when we're done this podcast about that. Okay, interesting. And so, then let's talk a little. I mean, you guys have so much stuff going on. Obviously, as the owner of the company or one of the partners of the company, you guys have to obviously know your numbers. Like financially, you have to know, what is selling, what isn't selling, et cetera. Are you guys making those kinds of changes daily? Are you guys keeping track of those things on a, like, what is like
So-
your role and your cousin's role now being more senior in the business? You're obviously not spending most of your time selling on the floor, I assume.
So I'm going to cut you off there because
Yeah.
when you started talking about it, my answer was going to be, it's really easy for us to know because we still are on the floor.
Okay. There we go. Okay.
I'm not there. We're open 6 days a week.
Okay.
I don't work 6 days a week anymore as I'm approaching 65 in a couple of months,
Yeah.
but I'm there 4 days a week.
Okay.
And I'm on the floor most of the time that I'm there, as is my cousin, as are my two sons,
Okay.
as are all our managers.
Yeah.
So we are
Fully involved all the time.
constantly monitoring who's buying, what they're buying, and what's not selling, and we're directing and really leading.
Yeah.
We lead our employees
Yeah.
to make sure that the customers provided for get put into the right size, and to coach them or cheer them on, or congratulate them, or to give them some constructive criticism if they haven't sized somebody properly, or if they aren't listening properly to what the customer's looking for, and getting them something that they're comfortable with, not just in terms of that looks good, but in terms of the price point that they want as well.
Yeah, I love that. I think the challenge in many businesses can come from the owner who's disconnected, right? Who isn't on the floor selling, who isn't doing those things. So I love the fact that you're still there, still doing it.
My father's 89. He still does it.
Still around, still does it.
He still does it. And I remember a customer once said to him, "Gerald, why are you here? It's a beautiful Saturday." My dad goes, "Oh, I'm here Sundays too, so
So he's still around too. Just
he goes
comes
to,
in and
he goes to Florida in the winter, but in the summertime he just there's really, I mean, that's his hobby, that's his joy, that's his love.
Yeah.
Still, like it is for myself and my cousin and my.
And so are you
my
still
two sons.
learning things from your dad, even though you've been in it now for 40 years? Still
Well,
things he's teaching you?
We learn every day.
I
Whether
agree.
it be from my father, whether it be from our customers, whether it be from my sons.
Right.
I mean, we're learning every day, and I guess he's still learning too. So it's it's a different world, continues to change, and we can always learn more from everybody.
I agree.
That's how I'd answer that.
I agree with that. I think daily learning is something that has to happen, right? If you want to sustain a business, if you want to sustain whatever, an income, a client base, whatever, every day you have to be learning.
And
if
the
you're
rules
not
change.
learning, then
The rules change too.
Right.
Dress codes change. Border rules change. Politics changes. These things happen out of control.
Right.
And some of them are great.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you get, we fell into this, or we landed this, or we spoke to this person, and it ended up developing into something. But we're there, we're active. There's a family member on the floor all the time.
Yeah.
My sons, they rotate some of their hours so that there's always a Freed family member in the store when we're open.
I love that. That's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about, and we're not going to get too personal, so don't worry. A little bit about financially. So has there been a big decision that you as a family had to make, where I think many business owners are in this position where they have to be like, okay, I'm going to put up all this money, but I don't know if the return's coming back, right? Whether that's bringing on the custom suit area, whether that's, a section with Mike in the shoes. Has there been a big decision where you guys had to be like, okay, we're going all in on this. We're not sure if it's going to work out, but it did. And you had to bet on yourself, have there been a couple of those big decisions in business that had to be made?
For sure. I guess one of the biggest was when we doubled the size of our store. Right. I think it was 1994.
Okay.
So there used to be as I said, we're now a city block, Ottawa Street between Lincoln and Gladstone. We were just half of that size until 94.
Okay.
And there was really more. So Dan and myself were in the business already, but our fathers, there used to be an A&P grocery store next to us, and then it became a discount store of some kind, and then they decided to buy that building, and there was an alley between the two buildings, and
Okay.
we made a decision that we were going to double the size of the store. And when you walk through the store now, it's like if you go from one side to the other,
Yeah.
it's a big.
It's a big walk.
You could use roller skates.
Yeah.
And so that was a huge decision, and it's a big piece of property, and we kind of filled it up
Yeah.
all the way. I mean, there's an inventory from one end to the other. So
Yeah.
we invest, we doubled our size, doubled our inventory, brought in a lot of different types of lines, and we continue to make, different decisions.
Yeah. And so was that a conversation? I mean, you were around at that time. Was that a conversation that your dad and your uncle were having for a long period of time about whether they should do it, shouldn't do it, the pros, the cons?
I think organically some of these things just happen over time, and like we haven't had another expansion since then. There's no thought that we would.
That was going to be my next question.
It's like, where are we going to go? We're gonna make a second floor and put a basement. Well, we have a basement, but that's for storage.
Yeah.
So we feel we've kind of maxed out our square footage.
Yeah.
But we continue to monitor and change the product mix.
Yeah.
I mean, there's products that over the years, there's tons of different lines of products that have been in our store that may continue to be in our store, some for over 50 years and some that we just bring in this year, So it's that's a lot of fun. That's a fun part of the business, is just the buying and having the right lines in place.
Yeah. And so how do you guys manage that? Is it something that you guys as partners go and try out, go and test out, go and see other manufacturing places and decide what you want to, I mean, is it like you guys go to like fashion weeks of some things? Like, how do you guys decide what you bring in and what you don't?
Yeah, there's some shows that we go to. We've gone to shows all over the world. I've been to shows in Italy. I've been to New York, Las Vegas, a lot in the United States. Chicago, there's a show now called the Chicago Collective, which is going to be coming up the first week in February. That's twice a year. That's one that we don't miss. Huge show. A lot of Canadian representation at that show. There's like a lot of Canadian lines that are, have agencies that are founded in Canada that are, it's quite impressive.
Yeah.
How many Canadians are at this Chicago show? But there's a lot of Americans. There's going to be an Italian area.
Yeah.
So there's shows in Chicago, shows in New York, a lot in Toronto, and then a lot of our suit manufacturers are in Montreal. So sometimes we'll get on a plane and we'll fly down there. And in another part of our business, there's so many parts of our business I could talk to you about, but another part of it, why we're successful, is that we try to manage our money properly so that we have money on hand, and that's not like we're living kind of like week to week, that we got to make a sale in order to pay the bill. That gets really risky. So thankfully we've been able to manage the finances well enough that we've got enough that when we go to buy more, that we've got money in the bank to pay for those things and not have to be reliant on. Of course, you have to continue to sell everything.
And I was going to say, is that something that your dad taught you? Is that something your grandfather taught your dad?
One of the huge things that I think my grandfather taught my dad, that my dad taught me, that I've taught my sons, is to be careful in your buying as to how much you're buying, and leave yourself opened to more buys where you can buy some things off price and then pass those savings on to the customers.
Right.
And one thing about Windsor, which has really been to our huge advantage, is that because we are a independent store in Windsor, sometimes we'll have these brand name products in our store that we're selling for 50% less than you'll find them in like Toronto or Montreal, because there's, like in Toronto, there might be 10, 20, 30 different stores that have the same lines that we do, but we're kind of by herself
Right,
in Little Windsor.
absolutely.
So, we can give it to Freed's. They've got the money to pay for these goods that we're going to give them at a promotion price. We pass the savings on, but there's not, hey, how come Freed's got it? And there's not like 10 different guys that are going to
Right.
cry about it because Freed's got this great
Right.
buy. But
Interesting.
But,
And so so when you guys are going to these fashion shows and these events, are you guys going with the expectation of purchasing specific things? Are you
so
going
they're
with
not
the
really fashion shows. They're
Yeah.
more like exhibitors.
Exhibitors.
And
Okay.
they plan like a year in advance as well of what they're going to show each season.
Okay.
So we're going to go in February and we're going to buy our fall winter program for the following year. Buy it a year in advance.
Right. Okay.
It's not like you buy it a week before. They've got to make it and they've
Right.
got to.
So you guys are always forward thinking. What's next year?
Yeah.
What? Okay. And fashion trends, as you mentioned, change.
Yeah.
How do you guys manage, from a business standpoint, purchasing things a year in advance, not really knowing where the trends are going for the following year?
Well, we do know.
Okay.
We do know where the trends are going because we watch the trends. We
Okay.
see the trends. We talk to our suppliers. We look at the magazines. We look at the world trends. And the weird thing in menswear right now is I've been in this business for, as I said, 40 years. The trends are not changing as quickly as they used to. There
Really?
used to be there was years when almost everyone would wear a double-breasted suit. There was years when everyone was wearing 3-button suits. There was years when the 3-button suits had pleated pants. It's been 2-button. I'm wearing a 2-button sport coat. One, two, single-breasted. It's been that way now for not 2 years, not 5 years, more than 10 years.
Right.
And they're trying to bring double-breasted back, which is huge in Italy, but it's not catching on.
Right.
They're talking about, things have been pretty fitted. Narrower bottoms, fitted jackets, fitted pants. That's what most people are still wearing. If you look at a lot of these trends you might see from a special person in the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Richard Gere in American Gigolo. He wore the, Giorgio Armani suits with double-breasted back at that time.
Yeah.
You look at someone like today, you look at like a Billie Eilish with the very overflowing, big,
Yeah.
wide-legged, big sweatshirt looks. Some people are going to that.
Yeah.
Yet some people still want the fitted. So it's John Travolta in Saturday Night Fever wore the white.
Mm-hmm.
He wore that white suit, and
Yeah.
and
The iconic suit.
We had row after row after row of white suits in our store
Because everybody wanted them.
Everyone wanted it, and then that kind of died out after a couple of years. But now 2-button, somewhat fitted suits, not really too much pleats.
Right.
Not that much double-breasted. Some of the higher-end, real fashion lines try and bring in a bit of that. But we see all these lines, and you see what most people are doing. And, these trends are not, they're not changing as quickly as they once did.
As they used to. Interesting. Yeah, I guess.
But
I
they
feel like it
do
would
change.
a lot.
They
Yeah.
do change, and then ladies, sometimes ladies might move quicker than men's, and you are seeing some, kind of more flared bottoms and, jeans that are higher waisted with kind of a wider bottom to them.
So you guys are paying attention to, like, I'm going to say Hollywood celebrities. You're going to pay attention to things that
Fashion.
people are buying today.
Movies,
Movies.
fashion magazines, Europe,
Right.
trendsetters.
Right.
Different, there might be different people in the world that can actually
Interesting.
make a trend.
Yeah, and then you're going a year out. That's, I guess, a lot of retail businesses. It is like that.
So it's not like in men's where it's like, okay, it's all going to be double-breasted next year. You got 5,000 suits. There's 2-button single-breasted. Those are all dead.
Right.
So that hasn't really happen, but there's definitely been times where, you know what? Like, I remember when it was all double-breasted. I remember when
Yeah.
it was all three-button. I remember when everyone's pants was pleated. So those things they start turning and
Right.
changing, and you want to be on top of it, and you want to be able to be confident to say, you know what? I see the trends changing,
Right.
and I'm going to change with it, and I'm going to buy our stock that way.
Right.
And we've done that. It
Right.
just isn't moving as quickly
As
as
used
it
to.
has in the past.
Yeah. Interesting. I like that.
Maybe because people aren't dressing up as much as they used to either. So I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, there's a lot of stay-at-home work now. There's a lot of different things. I could never do the stay-at-home working thing. I love getting dressed up too much when I'm at home. I'm just too distracted. I don't feel like excited to be doing what I'm doing. I like getting dressed up. I like going to the office. I like meeting people. So yeah, I get that. So what do you think then? So give me a little bit on why you think Freed's has lasted for 96 years. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Right. 96 years. What makes Freed so different than other places?
I think for one, I think it's the people, that we've hired, and the family presence, that we are a family business that is, we are there.
Mm-hmm.
We are still on the floor. We are still watching over our business. We care. And the people that we hire, if you look at the people in our business, a lot of them have been in our business for 20, 30, 40. We have a couple people that are still working for us that are been with us for over 50 years, believe it or not.
Wow.
They're still in the business.
Yeah.
Joan Goebel and Keith White. They both came in young, and they're still with us today, and they certainly could have retired, but they love what they do. And we try, and the people that work for us, they're considered part of our family. They're our extended family, and we hope they feel the love that we have for them. I think they do, and they enjoy what they're doing, and I think that's a big part of it. Is just who we are and what we stand for.
Yeah, I think every time I've gone into Freed's, I think that you do get that family feel. Like you get the, hey, how's it going? How's your day? How are things? Like there is much more of the we're treating you like family, where you don't get it other places, right? So I think I would say that that's probably one of the biggest things I would probably agree with you is every time I go in there, you feel like you're not just another customer buying something. You feel like the people who are there want to take care of you in the best way possible.
Yeah, I mean, when you go into most stores, certainly like a store of our size, for sure, it's going to be some kind of a department store. There's really no identity behind the store.
Mm-hmm.
We're still a family-based store with a presence on that store. If there's a problem in the store, you love things to be smooth all the time, but there's always going to be issues. And we're going to be there, and if we have to make a decision, whether it be a problem, whether it be an alteration or there can be, all kinds of things can go wrong when running a business.
Right.
But we're in there, and we're going to make it right, and we can make a decision on the spot. We don't have to call corporate and
Right.
try and find somebody down the line who's going to take care of this thing, so we can turn on a dime.
Yeah.
I guess that's another big advantage.
Yeah, which is great.
That we're in there. We're all the decision makers are right there, and we can. Something happens. Okay, here's our decision.
Let's pivot right now.
That's it.
Yeah. Okay, so has there ever been one of the other people I interviewed gave a great response or made a great comment that I've used a few times now. Is there something that Ari Freed would like to tell himself when he was younger that might have sped up the success of the store, might have changed something faster? Is there something you think you would go back and maybe do slightly differently?
I would say, one, to never give up. Okay, if something's, you know, not quite where you want it to be, don't give up. Set yourself some goals, write them down, and, you know, funny if you keep working towards those goals, you may not only make them, but you might surpass them.
Yeah.
Um, Another thing is, you know, you think things, a lot of times I kind of touched on this, you think things are going just fine and you just kind of rest on that. You can't just rest on what you did yesterday.
Yeah.
You've got to continually look to improve upon where you're at. It just doesn't, you can't stand still.
Yeah.
You got to keep thinking. You got to keep, big word that I use is proact. Got to be proactive. You can't just react to what's going on out there. You have to
Right.
try and stay one step ahead of the game. 'Cause this world just keeps changing. I mean,
Yeah.
if you think of the way our business was in 1929, the way it is at the end of 2025, are two completely different things, and the world is just changed in so many huge ways,
Yeah.
and it continues to change right now that it's fascinating. You know, you have to kind of get excited about it. You know, you look at what's happening at like artificial intelligence
Mm-hmm.
is an example that just is fascinating to me. It's totally fascinating, and you have to say, okay, well, we're a clothing store. How's that going to affect us? But it does,
Yeah.
and we can use it to help solve problems. We use it to help with our marketing now, and you know, the world, you know, the digital world, the e-commerce world, the way of marketing, the way that we used to market used to be all Windsor Star newspaper. Now it's so much
Mm-hmm.
social media and how important that part of our business is.
Yeah.
So you have to just keep going, and you have to keep finding new ways and not just,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm glad that my sons are there, you know, because
Yeah.
they're going to bring a different perspective.
Yeah, and I love that because I think Jason and I always say, you know, when it comes to the business world, you're only as good as your last sale,
Mhm.
right? You can't just make the big sale or have the big year and think, okay, well, this is always going to be the way that it's going to be from now on, right? Because things do change so drastically, and a problem may arise real fast, or you might have a perfect storm of multiple things that all happen at the same time that you have to be prepared for, right? Just because you have one really great year doesn't mean it's always going to be like that.
For sure.
So I love that. I love those three pieces of advice that you just gave there. So what's next for Freed? So you just talked about goals, having things written down, trying to chase after those. You guys have your 100th anniversary of a store coming up in a few years. What's next for you guys? What kind of goals does Ari Freed have written down right now?
Well, that's a great question. Again, constantly evolving world.
Yeah.
And for me, as I'm approaching 65, I'm looking to do a little bit less, quite frankly,
Okay.
and give my sons a little bit more. And we've had those discussions. And I'm going to continue to be there. I'm not going anywhere right now, but we're looking, and future's unknown. Quite, you know, in retail, we're in there and we're thinking, and you know, we might do this and we might do that. I can't give you any specifics,
Hard specifics
on
sure.
what we're doing differently, but we certainly are continually to think in a proactive way to better our store.
Yeah.
We are doing something with we have a loyalty program as well. Is one thing I just thought of that we're constantly upgrading that.
Okay.
And there's so much information that we get from our customers if they allow us to become a loyalty customer by giving us their email and their name. We can see what their needs and wants are and what their previous purchases are. So we're investing in that in
Okay.
a pretty big way right now to help us understand the buying habits of our customers,
Yeah.
so that we can kind of segregate, because we have the people that are buying the high end, the middle end, and the lower end.
Yep.
And we have the ladies and the men's and the custom shop. There's so many different things going on.
Yeah.
You do want to be able to kind of specialize and
Yep.
market to them
Yeah.
individually.
And so do you think you guys are going to do any kind of, you know, big year celebrations type things for the 100th year coming up?
100%.
Lots.
100 years, 100%.
100 years, 100%.
100%. That's going to be something that we already talk about.
Yeah.
We 90th year was big, 95 was big, but 100 is
Huge.
is unbelievable.
It's amazing.
So yeah.
You don't see a lot of family businesses that are still family-run businesses after 100 years.
Yeah.
You don't see that very much anymore. And I don't think you'll see that really, truly going forward. The big corporate stuff, the big takeovers, all that stuff that happens just really sort of, it ends at some point in time.
Yeah.
And so let's talk a little bit about that. I know we're getting short on time. Did your son always show an interest in the business? Is it something you kind of groomed him for because you wanted to take over? How did that work?
So that's an interesting one. And it's not one son, it's two sons.
Two sons.
Got two sons. They both came in the same day, October 15th, 2018. They came in together, and they were not groomed to come into the business. They were not groomed, nor I was a little bit in that I kind of worked in the store growing up to a degree, but it wasn't until I went to university and I went to Toronto and I was thinking, I like business. Do I want to be an accountant? Do I want to do this or that? That I called my father and said, I'd like to join. It wasn't like, Ari, come on, you'll come in. It wasn't like that.
Yeah. He let you make your own decision.
Yeah. And with my sons, it was different. Hard business. Didn't say, come on, guys, you'll come in. It'll be this and that. It'll be, lots of fun because it's, it's difficult and a lot of hours. And, there's pressure to keep it going and to be successful. So my older son actually graduated and got a law degree, and he loved music, and he was out, pursuing music a little bit, but working in entertainment law in Los Angeles. And my younger son worked in hospitality business. He went to Michigan State University, got a degree in that. He was working for the Tigers and Red Wings for a company called Delaware North, which does their beverage and dealing with running those programs for the Tigers and the Red Wings. That Dan and I were getting, so 8 years ago, we're getting close to 60, and his sons are already not going in the business. One was in New York, and the other one's a doctor. So we knew that wasn't going to happen on the Orman side of the family.
Yeah.
And are we going to have any succession? Are we going to be able to continue on in this business? I spoke to my sons and in their careers where they were, and I asked them, "Do you guys want to give this a shot?" And they both came, as I said, they both said yes. They've both been in for 7-8 years now, and
and they're enjoying it.
They're enjoying it. I mean, retail is there's fun times, but there's a lot of slugging that goes into it too. So anyone who works retail can tell you. I don't know if you've ever worked in it, but
I have not. No,
it's not the easiest thing.
Yeah.
But there can be some fun with it. They do enjoy it, but there's also the hard times, and there's the hours, and there's the there's many different responsibilities that come along with it. So.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting to see that. And so the other partner, your cousin, right?
Yeah, Dan. Yeah.
Dan, his kids had no interest.
No.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. What would you have done if your son said no? What would you guys have done? Just sold it to another, just kept going and try to figure it out later? Probably.
Yeah. I mean, those are things that you don't know until you go through, you start going through life and you just start looking at your options, and that's what's happened. That's where we're at. So
that's so
I mean, I
interesting.
remember our fathers saying when Dane and I came in the business in the mid 80s, it's like, well, guys, future's untold.
Right.
We don't know. I mean, we're getting older. It's going to be up to them. So it's going to be
interesting.
Yeah.
I like that. That's not, I think that's, you have to kind of let kids make up their own mind, especially in today's society. I think there's so many different things that can now be done that couldn't be done in the 80s and, 70s, 80s, 90s with technology, with AI, with all that kind of jazz. Right. So that's interesting. Did they ever tell you sort of why they wanted to change careers and take over, start to be a little groomed for the business?
So for my younger son, he came from a hospitality business background. So it's almost like, what a perfect match.
Right. Changing one thing for another.
Even though he wasn't really being groomed in the store, he was sort of being groomed outside of the store.
Right.
He actually worked at the Beverly Hills Hotel also in California when my other son was going through law school, and it kind of was part of his degree, is he had to go, get a job somewhere, and he was able to land that job, which was incredible for him.
Really cool.
My other son, who is the lawyer, had a girlfriend, which is now his wife. I'm now a grandfather. But at the time, he had his girlfriend in Michigan. And if he stayed out in California, was he going to live there? Was she going to move out there with him? Or are they both going to, be more here and be, closer to the family? So my older son, I think family was super important to him, and being close to his family was the most important thing, and I think still is to him. And I think that's what made his decision to come in
a little bit easier.
And he knew his brother was coming in at the same time. And,
Interesting. And to leave, being a lawyer is a fantastic career. Going from law into retail is a big change. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so last question. I didn't prep you for this either. We ask most of our guests, or we try to do it all of our guests. Final question is, what does success mean to Ari Freed?
Success is, the word that's coming into my mind is sort of harmony, getting along. It's not about money. It's about being happy.
Right.
Okay, it's about enjoying your life, being able to say, you know what, I'm happy doing what I'm doing. That's success.
Yeah.
The opposite of success is, you might think it's like failure, like maybe your business is going out of business or something like that. But success is just doing the things that you do and feeling good at the end of the day, and being able to do it with family is a difficult thing for anyone who's in a family business.
Yeah.
So to be able to do it and get along with all your family members, a father, a cousin, sons, and an extended family, all the people that work for us, and even our customers.
Yeah.
Having everybody, I'm not trying to create this kumbaya type of moment.
Sure.
But success is that happiness, is that harmony. It's that kind of, that big sort of, thing all around you that just sort of all works together, that you can say, I'm happy.
Right. Yeah, I can get behind that 100%. I think being happy in what you do is success in and of itself. I think there's so many people, and we talk about this on the podcast lots. There's so many people that get roped into a career that they don't love, and every day is a struggle, and they don't want to wake up, and they don't want to do their job, but they need to, and they have to provide for their family. And being able to do something that you love and be happy with it, and have that harmony, I love that. That's a great one.
Yeah, I never really got asked in that way before, and I never really answered any question that way before. But when you think about it, just be able to get up each day and enjoy what you're doing, and then feel good about it and be happy with it. And obviously, you want to make a few bucks along the way. It doesn't hurt, and if you don't, you're not going to continue to do it anyway. So you have to continue to be profitable in that. But being happy all around that is what's important to me.
I'm with you on that one. That one's good. I like that. Well, thank you very much, Ari. I appreciate you really taking the time out of your day to come to the podcast studio and sit and chat with us a little bit about your business, which is, again, like I said, coming up on 100 years.
Yeah.
It's fantastic feat for your family, providing all of the fashion service that you guys do to the Windsor area. I'm sure it's not just me, but I'm sure everybody appreciates what you guys have done. I'm excited to see what you guys do for the next couple of years leading into this 100th year celebration. So thank you again for taking the time out of your day today.
Well, Sean, I appreciate it as well, and thank you for everything, and gave me a chance to reflect upon myself and my business, which is always great, and we'll strive to keep going. But I just want to end by saying one big thank you to the Windsor-Essex community, because without them, we're nothing, and they've supported us since my grandfather's time, and 96 years later, we've got the best customers in the world. A lot of them just they continue to come back, and they come in, and it's a place where they can just come and say hello to us. You don't have to buy anything. Just come on by. It's like our home for everyone in Windsor. I'm sure there's a lot of people that haven't been to our store yet. So I do want to invite everyone personally to come in, and anyone who's seen this podcast that doesn't know me personally, come ask me in the store and just come hang out and see what we're all about.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you very much for the time. Guys, as always, you can find us on all of your podcast streaming studios, whether it's Apple, Spotify, YouTube. You know where to find us. Check us out. But that's another episode of Cracking the Success Vault today with our guest, Ari Freed.
Thanks, Sean.